From our studio located in Madison, New Jersey, this is Real Good News.
I'm like the man they call a seeker. I'm a real truth speaker, and I always cut right to the core. And you know I really ask, cause I get right to the facts and get the answer to what I'm looking for. I can pronto peg a lie, I'm a tireless and quiet. I've been a furious thinker since my youth. My motives on above ground. I've always been a bloodhound for the truth. The truth. You can lie, you can run, but the truth.
Happy New Year and welcome to another edition of Real Good News, your local news show for Morris and Union counties. I'm your host, Lisa Allen. On today's show, Georgette Castro takes a look at the online resource for job seekers looking for work in Morris County, and later explores the many benefits of credit unions over traditional banks. Michaela Patton covers a surprising rate decrease in electric costs for one town, and for another town, a special trip to see the New Jersey Devils. Plus, we have these stories.
Coming up on Real Good News, a conversation with a doctor whose company is creating an AI implementation that will help doctors make better diagnoses.
But first, here's Georgette Castro and Michaela Patton with their stories.
Thank you, Lisa, and Happy New Year to you. Morris County has a job page that many people do not know about. It's a free resource for anyone looking for a job. The page lists open jobs with the Morris County government. These are real jobs that are available right now. There is a wide range of full-time, part-time jobs, and entry-level positions. Others are professional careers. The jobs include office work, public safety, maintenance work, technology, and health and human services job. There are opportunities for many different skills and experience level. The page also explains what each position involves and how to apply. This helps people understand the job and if it's a good fit before they apply. If you or someone you know is looking for a career or just a part-time work, this county page can be a very helpful place to start. Visit the link to the website on the screen to view a complete list of open jobs.
Union County is marking an important moment in history with the start of events leading up to the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution. The first event will focus on the Lenape people, who lived in this region long before the Revolutionary War. The Lenape have a deep and lasting history in this area, and their story is an important part of understanding our shared past. The event will feature a presentation by a history professor from Seton Hall University. The talk will explore who the Lenape were, how they lived, and how their history connects to the land we live on today. The program will take place at Liberty Hall Museum and is open to the public. It's designed to help people of all ages learn more about local history in a welcoming and educational setting. Union County leaders say this anniversary is not just about dates and events. It's about understanding the people and stories that came before us.
Production has wrapped on the short film Company, a locally made project from Mortenfeld Productions, the same team behind Real Good News. Company is a character-driven comedy that follows Candela, a woman in over her head at her job. Her life changes when she discovers Larry, a small puppet hidden in her desk drawer. Through their interactions, she finds comfort, humor, and a sense of connection she has been missing. The short is beautifully scored with music by the local indie band, Marty I'm Afraid, playing throughout the movie, and stars our very own Georgette Castro. The movie was shot in Morris and Union counties, and the project is now entering the film festival phase where it will find its premiere. Since debuting on YouTube on November 23rd, the official trailer for Company has received more than 22,000 views and over 2,000 likes. It is now the most popular video on our YouTube channel, so stay tuned for the exclusive announcement of the dates and locations for the premiere of Company.
Morris County has expanded a special program to help older people feel less alone. The program gives robotic companion pets to seniors who live in the county houses and are at least 60 years old. These pets look like small cats and dogs, and they respond to people touch. They can purr, bark, and move just like real animals. The pets do not need food, walks, or cleaning. People can keep them as long as they want. Many seniors give their pets a name and treat it like a friend. The program is called Joy for All, and it began in 2024 to help older adults who feel lonely or spend a lot of time alone. It also helps people with memory problems such as dementia. This year, Morris County worked with the County Housing Authority to give out more of these pets. So far, 26 pets have already been given to seniors 60 years and older.
A new independent feature film called Golgotha will begin principal productions on January 5th. The feature will be shot on location in New York City, Madison, West Orange, and Homedale, New Jersey. Golgotha is a dark, dramatic story that follows a detective investigating a series of disturbing crimes. As the case unfolds, the story explores faith, guilt, and what may exist beyond death. 2 Madison residents are working on the film as well as multiple members of the Mortonville production family. Chris Rosica is a Madison native and also the writer and director. He's an independent filmmaker whose work focuses on human emotion, loss, and moral struggle. His films have screened at festivals and are known for their strong visual style and character-driven storytelling. Brian Mortensen is the executive producer on the film. He is the president of Mortonville Productions and a producer on Real Good News. Georgette Castro appears as an extra and serves as a production assistant. Other members of the Mortonville production team working on the feature film are Dante Massionis and Sebastian Perez Brid. The film brings together a creative team from multiple backgrounds who are working together on this ambitious production.
The Thursday Morning Club in Madison was founded in 1896 by a group of local women who wanted to serve the community. From the beginning, the club focused on improving daily life in the town. Their guiding idea was simple: I serve. In the early years, the Thursday Morning Club helped start Madison First Kindergarten so young children could receive early education. They also helped bring in the town's first public health nurse to care for families and children. The club played a key role in creating the Madison Community House. The building became a place for childcare, health services, education, and community programs. For generations, people in Madison have gathered there for support and connection. Today, the Thursday Morning Club continues this tradition of service. The members support students through scholarships, volunteer their time, and host programs that strengthen the community.
Even as many towns and municipalities are seeing electric rates go up, Summit is seeing something different. Town officials announced that electric supply rates for Summit residents are going down through a community energy program. The new rates are lower than the current basic electric supply rates. The program works by allowing the town to join with other municipalities to purchase electricity together. By buying power in larger amounts, the towns were able to secure better pricing for residents. Most households in Summit will be automatically enrolled in the lower supply rate. Electric services will stay the same, and residents will receive power through the same utility. Residents will also have a choice. Anyone who prefers to stay with their current supplier can opt out of the program with no penalty. At a time when energy costs are rising in many places, this program offers Summit residents some relief on their electric bills. Town officials say information will be sent to households so people can review the details and decide what works best for them.
Many towns hold something called a reorganization meeting at the start of the new year, but few citizens understand these meetings and what really transpires during them. A reorganization meeting is a public meeting where a town official begins the new calendar year. It usually happens in early January. At this meeting, town officials take their oaths of office. This is when elected leaders formally promise to serve their community and follow the law. The town may also confirm leadership roles for the year. This can include positions like mayor, council president, or committee chair assignments. These roles help organize how town government works day to day. Reorganization meetings often include routine approvals. These can include setting meeting dates for the year, naming official newspapers, and approving professional services like legal counsel or auditors. Even though these meetings are mostly procedural, they are also very important. They make sure the town starts the year in an organized and transparent way. These meetings are open to the public, and residents can attend to see how their local government begins its work for the year and who will be responsible for key roles.
Many households are finding an easy way to save money without changing much about their daily routine. Instead of using paper towels for a small mess, some people are switching to reusable cloth towels that can be washed and used again. The idea is simple: wipe, rinse, toss it in the laundry, and repeat. The savings add up. A typical household can go through around 4 rolls of paper a month. That's about $2 per roll, and it's close to $100 a year. By replacing most of paper towels with reusable towels, families can drastically save $100 a year, even after accounting for laundry cost. That may not sound like a huge number, but when you are trying to cut expenses, every little bit counts. It's the kind of savings that happens quietly in the background without sacrificing comfort or convenience. There is also an environmental benefit. Fewer paper towels used means less waste going to the landfills and fewer resources spent making single-use products. But for many people, the financial benefits is what gets them to try in the first place. Paper towels are disposable, which means you throw them away and keep buying more. Cloth towels do the same job, but you only need to replace them every few years. You don't need a major lifestyle overhaul to save money. Sometimes it's just about rethinking everyday habits you barely notice.
The Clark Recreation Department is hosting a special community night with the New Jersey Devils. The event gives residents a chance to attend a Devils game together as a group. Families, friends, and neighbors can sit together and enjoy the game as part of a town outing. There's also the opportunity for a group photo on the ice with the team. Community nights like this are designed to bring people together outside of town meetings and daily routines. They offer a shared experience where residents can connect, have fun, and support a local recreation program at the same time. The event is open to the public, and tickets are available through the Clark Recreation Department. Seating is limited, and once the available tickets are gone, the event will be sold out.
As the new year begins, many people want to make small changes that actually stick. Here are 3 simple tips that anyone can use. First, focus on one small habit instead of making big goals. A short daily walk, drinking more water, or going to bed just a little bit earlier is easier than keeping a long list of resolutions. Small changes are more likely to last. Second, write things down. Keeping a simple list of tasks, ideas, or goals helps clear your mind and reduce stress. Writing things down makes plans feel more real and easier to manage. And third, check in with people more often. A short message or phone call can make a big difference. Staying connected helps improve mood, reduce loneliness, and strengthens relationships. The new year does not need big promises or perfect plans. Small, steady steps can lead to real change over time.
Okay, now please make sure you stay till the end to this segment for important information. Not stopping early, okay? Many people hear the term credit union, but they're not always sure what it means. A credit union is a financial institution similar to a bank, but is owned by its members instead of shareholders. When you open an account to a credit union, you become a member and a part owner. Because credit unions are not focused on making profit for shareholders, they're often lower fees, lower interest rates or loans, and higher interest on savings accounts. Any earning are typically returned to the members through better rates and services. Credit unions are usually community-based. Many serve people who live or work in certain area or who belong to a specific organization or profession. This local focus often leads to more professional customer service. Like banks, credit unions offer checking accounts, saving accounts, loans, and online banking. They're also insured, so deposits are protected just like they are in traditional banks. For some people, a credit union can be a lower cost and more community focused alternative to a traditional bank. Now, here is the important part I told you to stay for. Always make sure your bank or credit union is insured. The NCUA is the National Credit Union Administration, and their website is ncua.gov. The NCUA insures each account up to $250,000 per account. There is also a credit union locator to assist you in finding the best one to meet your needs. That's it. That's all you need to know to get started in opening your own checking, saving, money market, or CD account at a credit union. If you are paying a lot in bank fees or you want a better interest rate for your saving, it will be worth your time to looking into credit union. Later this month, I will be taking a look at affordable dividend stock and dividend investments. I hope that you will join me. For Real Good News, I'm Georgia Castro.
Westfield recently celebrated a new addition to its community with the opening of the Charles Addams Heritage Trail. The trail honors Charles Addams, a cartoonist best known for creating the characters that became the Addams family. The trail highlights places in Westfield that were important in his life and career. The Heritage Trail includes signs and marked locations that guide visitors through the town. Each marker shares information about Charles Addams and his connection to Westfield. The trail gives residents and his visitors a chance to learn more about his work and his legacy. Local leaders said the trail is a way to celebrate a creative figure from the community and to offer people a chance to explore local history while enjoying a walk or bike ride. The new trail adds to Westfield's cultural attractions and gives people another way to learn about art and storytelling connected to their town. Union County announced that Brooklyn Kitchen will take over operations of the county senior nutrition program starting January 1st, 2026. The program provides meals to eligible older adults through home delivery and congregate meal sites across the county. During the transition, some temporary changes may occur. Meal delivery times may vary as new routes and schedules are finalized. Frozen meals will be provided briefly in January before the program returns to hot meals. These meals meet the same nutritional standards. New drivers and site staff are being trained and screened to ensure safe, reliable service. All 17 locations will continue serving hot meals on their regular schedules. Seniors already enrolled do not need to take any action. Questions or feedback can be directed to the Union County Division on Aging at 908-527-4870. For Real Good News, I'm Michaela Patton.
Now, here is Steve Lebekin.
Thanks, Lisa. Artificial intelligence is on everyone's mind these days. Critics, including the World Health Organization, are raising alarms, especially about the rising use of AI in healthcare. But there's a doctor who says he has a solution. It's Rocket Doctor AI CEO Dr. Essam Hamza. He says the problem isn't artificial intelligence itself, it's the wrong kind of AI. AI is being used in a wide range of industries, and that's raising concerns about safety. We see a number of instances of AI hallucinating or providing incorrect answers to questions. AI mistakes in healthcare worry everyone, but Dr. Hamza says the conversation's missing a critical point. Clinically built and clinically governed AI may now be one of the most important and most powerful life-saving tools in medicine. Dr. Hamza has more than 2 decades of experience advancing digital healthcare solutions. Dr. Hamza, we're glad to welcome you to SBN Newsmakers today.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
So tell us a little bit about the mistake that people are making with the wrong use of AI in healthcare.
Yeah, I mean, I think people use AI in many different ways in terms of the the kind of misnomer. But the problem, I think, is that it can apply to different things to different people. And the issue right now is when people talk about AI, they're thinking about ChatGPT. They're thinking about what we call LLMs, or large language models. And typically, this type of model has learned its information by scraping the internet for anything with regards to answering your question. And it's pressured to answer you no matter what. And so a lot of times when you talk to a chat GPT, for instance, it may come out with as you mentioned, something that is completely inaccurate and hallucinated because it wants to give you an answer. Also, you're worried about where it's getting its information from. Garbage in, garbage out. There's no audit trail on where it's getting this information and so on. And so you're right, 100%. It's not good enough for any company to say that they're accurate, let's call it 70% of the time when they're answering a question about healthcare. You need to be close to 100% because it's somebody's life on the line.
So what is it that Rocket Doctor's AI does differently than ChatGPT, for example?
Yeah, so what's great about it is that Rocket Doctor was built by doctors for practitioners and for the medical industry and so on. And it came out of the University of Minnesota and Dr. Peterson, who's one of the founders. And what happened was we brought in about 200 doctors around the world to help what we call curate the information from many different approved sources, and then go through a panel before it's entered into our information, what we call the Global Library of Medicine. The GLM, or Global Library of Medicine, is unique and proprietary to our company. And then we applied a proprietary algorithm to it as well, so that we've created something that thinks like a doctor's brain, with information that is gathered from appropriate sources, and it'll never hallucinate, it'll never make up something or become racist, as some of these other things have been doing, because it's a closed system. It's not something that's open to the outside world. It can never be contaminated. It's not drawing from different sources, different times. And so you can always trust that information. So when I say this is important, it's actually vital if you have to trust the medical information and where it's coming from, and be able to audit that information. And so that's kind of what's unique. And the algorithm we have makes it think like a doctor's brain, as I mentioned. So we can kind of go into how it works, but I think it's very unique. It has the ability to take you on as a patient and take into account everything about you before it even starts talking to you. Male, female, where you are in the world. As I always say, if you're presenting in Africa with a fever, it's different than if you're presenting in North America with a fever. They have malaria, we don't have malaria. If you're a 20-year-old with chest pain, that's different than if you're a 70-year-old smoker, have diabetes and complaining of chest pain, before you even ask one question. So it's a very unique system.
So it sounds like you have a library of validated information, and then the artificial intelligence is sort of overlaid on top of that and isn't allowed to look at anything else.
Exactly that. That's exactly it. And it's proprietary information. And what's interesting, I followed the space quite a bit in terms of AI, and what you're hearing a lot of right now is that there's a lot of large language models, or LLMs, out there. You've heard of the ChatGPT, and then you saw DeepSeek coming out of China that, was supposed to be better. And then Gemini is now beating everybody else. That race is different than what we're talking about is going to be for the next race. And I think the next big race in AI is about data, good data, where you're going to get the information from. And the issue with healthcare is you have to train these models with good data. Otherwise, it's useless, and you can't trust it in the healthcare space.
And once you have this global library of medicine model, how do you use it in terms of treating individual patients? Does it also have access to the patient's medical records?
Yeah, and what's great about the GLM is that you can use it many different ways, and there's different customers depending on who wants to use it. Our customers are not the patient. Our customers are the doctors, the nurses, the pharmacists, the healthcare practitioners who want to use this as a tool in their arsenal of tools. And so typically when you go to your doctor and they're talking to you and they're typing away on the computer, they're entering your information into the electronic medical record, or EMR. And that EMR, there's many different EMRs out there. We have our own proprietary EMR as well, but that's not special in its own way. What makes it interesting is what tools can you give that practitioner to solve the problems that we have in healthcare right now? So whenever you mention healthcare, and especially in the United States and the Western world, it's the cost, increasing cost, and lack of access to care, or not enough doctors. I always say something very controversial, and that is we don't have a shortage of doctors. We don't have a shortage of spending in healthcare. There's more than enough. The problem is it's a very inefficient use of those resources, those limited resources we have. And it's because we spent something like 40% of our time doing administrative work that we don't need to do, typing the notes or taking a history at the very beginning or following up on the lab tests and so on, billing and so on. And that's wasted time where we could spend time with the patient themselves who need to see us. So our tools have the ability. We have something like an AI nurse that can call the patient or contact the patient ahead of an appointment. So as soon as, imagine Sunday night, you're sick or your kids are sick and you want to see somebody, your options are going to emergency room or going to ChatGPT or Dr. Google. And so now imagine instead you book an appointment and now an AI nurse calls you at any time and starts taking your history ahead of time. And in the background, this AI nurse that we have is not only taking an appropriate history depending on what you're saying and listening to your responses and coming up with the next most important question, it's actually thinking in the background about what you could have. And it can diagnose with incredible accuracy what you probably have based on the history you're giving and indicate to the doctor what blood tests you should do, what imaging to do, and so on. So if I'm a doctor using this service, imagine now my patients having 24/7 access to healthcare, to be able to be triaged in real time 24/7. And when they do connect with me as a doctor on the internet or in person, the history's already been put into the chart for me. Maybe they did the blood work ahead of time. The differential diagnosis is there that can help me guide on what I'm going to ask next or what part of the body I'm going to check out and so on. And then after the visit, check up on you and see how you're doing or your kid is doing on your antibiotics or on your new diabetic medications and so on. And so that kind of allied health, let's call it care, has not been available because it's just too costly and really it's the future, using digital tools to help the doctors that are there be much more efficient.
And it might be hard to quantify, but do you have any instances you can talk about where the use of the Rocket Doctor AI tool made a difference in the way a patient was treated and helped it make it more successful?
We have a couple of different ones. One client we're working with right now that we will announce, it basically has used it to reduce the time they had to spend with a patient at the very beginning in terms of administrative work with their very expensive practitioners, down from about 45 minutes face-to-face to about 5 to 10 minutes, where our AI nurse is able to do that first 35 to 40 minutes and then bring in the specialist for the last 5-10 minutes to confirm a few things and so on. And so now the backlog of patients waiting to see that specialist has decreased, or they have much better access to more patients and can see more patients that way. And the patients are satisfied because they can get access a lot faster and they're not waiting a long time to be seen by these practitioners. And then, another one, as I don't think I mentioned yet, but we are being used by medical schools right now in the US to train and test medical students on their clinical skills. And so students in medicine have to graduate from something called an OSCE exam. And it's I think 80 different countries use OSCE to graduate their students. And so it's a clinical exam where they have 12 rooms, they have an actor in each room. Each actor has a disease that they have to act out with symptoms and signs and so on. And the student has maybe 8 to 10 minutes to go in there, ask questions, come out, write their notes, write the differential diagnosis, move on to the next room. And we actually snuck it into one of these exams without anybody knowing except for the dean of medicine. And we gave it to a non-medical student, a third-year university student with zero medical education. And she was able to get 11 out of the 12 right on the first diagnosis, then the 12th one on the second diagnosis. And so the school, University of Minnesota, and we have announced this, decided to use it on one of these very expensive OSCE exams recently to replace like half the actors to create a kind of an AI patient, to not only create the patient, but to assess whether the student is asking the right questions and giving the right responses, and, you know, did they miss anything, and be able to remediate the students as well. And they announced, I believe, that it saved them something like 40% of the time and a great majority of the costs of running these very expensive exams for medical students. And so they'll be coming out with a research paper around that and how transformational it is in the medical education space.
So as you look out over the timeline of artificial intelligence evolving and developing and improving, what are some of the additional capabilities you expect it to bring to the medical professional over the next 5-10 years?
What's exciting is that I don't think we're going to have to guess anymore. Like, I think a lot of our job is training us to be good, you know, educated guessers. You know, we get enough information in our brains, and we learn a brand new language, and we study for 10, 12, 14, 15 years of university so that we're good guessers a lot of times, right? And I don't think that's going to be needed as much going forward, where now you're going to have the ability to feed these very powerful computers a lot of information and get personalized medicine, meaning that if this, you know, call it AI or whatever, has the ability to know your past medical history and what medications you're on and your family history and whether you smoke or not, and what you said last time and what you said 10 years ago, and your blood work for the history of blood work, and you gave a DNA sample as well, and it knows your genome. It's not guessing anymore when it figures out, okay, if you need an antibiotic, these ones won't work. This one will work for you based on your genetics. Or, you know what, you do have a higher risk of this disease versus this disease. We should check for this. Or give us a urine sample and we're going to analyze it further, not just for a bladder infection, but for other things. And so I think the idea of personalized medicine and precision care is the future. And you'll see direct results in outcomes.
Dr. Essam Hamza is the CEO of Rocket Doctor AI, and he is producing an artificial intelligence tool for the healthcare industry that is designed with proper guidelines and proper protections to make sure that the information is accurate. That'll do it from State Broadcast News here in Cherry Hill.
On our last episode, Steve Lebutkin spoke with documentary filmmaker Dan Grigsby about his film, I Feel Blue, a project that takes a deeper look at the often overlooked contributions of Native and mixed heritage musicians to the roots of American blues music. The documentary blends personal stories, historical context, and live performances to show how these artists helped shape a genre that became central to American culture, while rarely receiving proper recognition. The film also explores why these voices were left out and why their stories still matter today. Here's a preview of I Feel Blue.
There is such a power in indigenous music that I'm constantly blown away by it. I'm getting shivers right now thinking about it.
They all say the blues comes from slavery and all that stuff that happened, but I know that black people and natives are just like this, and my heart tells me.
So we're the only racial group on the planet that has to prove our race.
When I would ask my mother, what does that mean we're Indian? And she would say, we're a conquered people. And the message was that you need to conform to the greater society.
Being African American and Native American, that connection of those two peoples who were brought together, you know, from the very beginning of transatlantic slavery, those two musics would not be what we call the blues today had it not been for the combination of both of those people.
When I was 3 years old, I remember the powwow songs at Crow Fair.
Right now we're writing a lot about just like the importance of like self-actualization and just being aware of yourself and also impacting others as a result of that.
I have a new project called Sweet Tooth. It is jazz music following in the tradition of like post-Ornette Coleman, but it incorporates a lot of traditional material from my nation, from the Wabanaki Nation. And with that album, I'm really trying to highlight the fusion of and the legacy of jazz and Indigenous identity and how they've always been together.
When I would say I'm a Native American jazz vocalist, people would come up to me and be almost like offended. What do you mean by that? It's like, well, I'm Native and I sing jazz, and that's about it.
Ain't no color in the blues.
You'll probably hear it from a lot of the players that you encounter in your travels. We can express ourselves. We can say things that your heart translate.
Ain't no color in the blues. This was such a terrible place for me. For me, the blues started right here in this United States Indian boarding school.
All of it is ancestors, all of it, whether wind, spirit, all of it, everything, all the DNA in the tree, it's very alive with all our families. Did you know what we are? We're stolen people on stolen land. That's who we are. So, and that's blues.
The blues is right here. It's the only place in the world that it exists.
We have just entered a new year, and with each new year, there are new laws and regulations that go into effect across New Jersey and the nation. In New Jersey, we are seeing increases in the minimum wages. We're seeing increases in tolls on some of our highways and more. But these changes will affect many of us, but not all of us. What I do want to focus on today is a Medicare pilot program being introduced in 6 states, including New Jersey. The program is called the WISE-R, or Wasteful and Inappropriate Services Reduction Model. The pilot program will use artificial intelligence for prior authorization of 17 medical procedures considered to be overused or inappropriate for many patients. The program extends the notion that programs like WISE-R will reduce waste and abuse. While the intention of the pilot program may sound acceptable and good, for many, this program includes several areas of concern. While in New Jersey, the program will only directly affect persons on traditional Medicare, some of the issues it raises will have implications for the future of Medicare for everyone. I can't cover everything about this program, and the list of the 17 procedures would require an hour to explain. So I encourage all of you to do a search for the WISE-R and do your own research. What are a few of those concerns? First, the program will use artificial intelligence to determine if a doctor-recommended procedure on the list is appropriate. The problem is, do you want your doctor to determine if your procedure is appropriate, or do you want a machine? The real problem is the artificial intelligence programs used are written by and administered by private industries. The company making the decisions will be paid based on the amount of money they are saving. Which means, of course, there will be an incentive to deny procedures. This is exactly how private insurance companies, including those that provide Medicare Advantage plans, make their money. That brings up the second concern, which is this pilot program will make it more likely that the traditional Medicare program will be privatized in the future. The Center for Medicare Services has said that if this program proves successful, they will be expanding it to more procedures, which translates into more and more decisions being made by, you get it, machines. Another concern is the increase in paperwork and the delay of procedures that could be necessary while they're being reviewed. So why am I alerting you to this? First, because as I mentioned, the results of the pilot program are going to have implications for the future of Medicare for everyone, no matter what your age is. Second, I've spent the last 20 years of my career as a director of rehabilitation. I dealt with insurance companies and Medicare issues almost every day. My takeaway was, I would never want an insurance company making decisions about my Medicare coverage. If you are a senior, as I am, or hopefully going to become a senior, a doctor, or someone who has confidence in the decisions of your doctor, you might also be concerned about this pilot program, as I am. I encourage you to investigate what I've brought up and keep informed about the facts related to the issues that are affecting all of us today and in the future. For Real Good News, I'm Alan Swanson. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for joining us today on this episode of Real Good News. We will be back on January 18th for another episode. And until then, I'm Lisa Allen with a reminder that real good news is always worth sharing.
Now, a lie is halfway around the world. For the truth can put on its pants. Tell the truth. So my mission without fail is helping you prevail. You got to give the truth a fighting chance. Tell the truth. Beauty's truth, truth is beauty, and it's my civic duty to always write a reality. More than love, money, fame, more than rip on your good name.
I tell you something else about the truth, it will
Set you free.